I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull no punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We appreciate everybody being here and we're excited about tonight's show for sure. I know I am because I'm all about the cryptid thing. So Brandy,
Yeah,
how you
but
been?
we do have to say we're sorry we're late, but you get talking to Nick Valente and you just really don't stop.
No, and honestly, I mean it was we're going to talk about some of that stuff on the show, so it'd be awesome. Yeah, how's your week been, Brandy?
Well, it's all work, no play.
I hear
Makes
ya.
Brandy upset.
Yep. I hear you. I'm with you on that. It's been a long week for me too. Today was my kid's birthday. It was Olivia's 11th birthday. So we went to dinner and then Sunday we're having her party with all the grown kids and stuff and the grandkids and so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then
Family
Saturday
time's always good.
Yep. Well, Saturday, I have that event up at Malvern Manor that I'm doing with Haunted Souls.
Right.
So it's going to be fun. So I might give everybody a little preview of Malvern Manor on Saturday evening for anybody that's interested in getting tickets for that. So anyway, it's just going to be a good week. While I am thinking about it, Brandy and I will be at the Bigfoot conference in Alabama. And it's in Anniston, Alabama, if anybody's interested. It's June 9th and 10th, I believe. And then the Malvern event that I was talking about, we will be doing that July 8th. So tickets are on sale for that as well. And then I'm going to wait to talk about the Dogman conference because I know Nick is one of the speakers there. And so we'll talk to him more about that. Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring Nick up. So, hello
there.
How are you?
Randy, Krista, I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. You've been on the show before, and we enjoyed that show. So we're like, hey, let's ask Nick to come back again.
Sure.
I know it's been a hot minute, though. I mean, it has. Yeah. It has.
It's been a busy year so far, and last year too was really busy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My God, everything.
Yeah. You have a new deal started, and it's International Dogman Project.
Yeah, I had originally started the International Dogman Project Nordic countries, and I broke away from the other group due to philosophical differences, and I started my own, and we're doing super well. The International Dogman Project USA, Southwest, Southeast.
I think
North.
I'm in all of them.
Yeah. I also have a bunch of state chapters we opened up because a lot of my people out there, they want to open up state chapters so that they can get teams together, people to work with. And it's a lot easier when you have a state chapter, to put a call out there if the people live in that state. I'll tell you, Maine, IDP Maine, it's like one of the biggest state chapters around, and they have a lot of stuff going up there. And I was in Moscow, Maine 2 years ago, where we had several sightings. I posted some pictures. We actually went on to government ground that was closed because that's where a Dogman was sighted. And it was an old radar station that we used to maintain. The United States used to maintain up there. It was phenomenal. We actually went into the building. No lights, but luckily, we all had big flashlights over there, and we're looking all over the place. They had their computer room, and we actually got through one of the doors. So that was amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
We just didn't go down into the tunnel areas outside because they had these where you could pick up the manhole covers and there was ways to go down. We didn't do that. I just didn't have enough people there and enough. Actually, I didn't have enough experienced people there to go and do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
understand what you mean about like the experience side of things. Brandy and I start out with paranormal. So, I feel like people have to start somewhere, so when you take
Same here.
in, I mean, you show them the right way and before you do something, like that, or I wouldn't take a newbie into a place where I know that there's a demonic entity, that just
no. That's why when I'm out in the field, and I espouse this all the time, I don't go out unless there's 7 of us in the team and we're totally jocked up and armed. And I'm not only armed with regular things, but bear spray, electronic flashbangs, things like I won't shine it on you, but I'll do it behind me. That's a multi-laser. You shoot this at an animal's eyes, and one of them is bound to hit it in the eyes, and it's gonna hurt. Mm-hmm. It's gonna hurt. I mean, we've used it out there on coyote. We've had we were out southwest, and we had it must have been about at least 16, 17 coyote. Couple of us took these out. We hit them with that in the eyes, and that was the end of that. They just ran off. Mm-hmm. I also go, because you were talking about the paranormal, I go out with white salt, black salt, holy water, some sage. If I get a chance to burn it, I'll do that too. But anything to disrupt what it is. And that's why the electronic flashbangs, they're little balls that put out 1,200 lumens of light and super high decibels, a screech. And even if it's paranormal, sometimes you can disrupt that paranormal entity. Yeah. Give me enough time to throw some salt on it, or or maybe light up a sage doobie or something, I don't know.
I've never heard it called that.
All right, guys, everybody puff that sage, Get that, wave it around.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So when you go out like that, you're out, actually looking for cryptids, and you take these type of things.
Yeah, generally that's the reason why I am out there. Basically, it's either Sasquatch or Dogman, and mostly Dogman for me. But like you were saying, everybody started someplace. I actually started in the paranormal myself. Mm-hmm. My mom got me into that, and I used to read tons of books. I'll mention the one main author, Hans Holzer. I don't know if you guys ever read anything by him. I mean, he's fantastic. And then I used to go to the local bookstore / candy store, and they would sell, I guess, these 5x6 magazines, and it was about the paranormal, and they would give you new stories all the time. And I used to devour this stuff. But after checking it out and, with other people for many, many years, I kind of got a little disillusioned because nothing was really there ever that we went to. We disproved cold spots. We disproved the haunted graveyards, the haunted houses. We would be there overnight into the late morning and everything. So I got interested in, I used to read books on the Yeti, who's the original Bigfoot, right? And the Loch Ness Monster, of course, and then always read books on things like Dracula, werewolves and things. And slowly I started to do the cryptid section of that. But then I started getting interested in UFOs, also. So I was bouncing back and forth between that. And then as I got older and I was in certain organizations, and I don't mean little I'm talking about government. I found out what these UFOs could possibly be and what they could and could not be. And I just actually hit more on cryptids after that. I was really interested in finding those things. Like I've said on other shows, I've been north, south, east, and west in the country. I've been over the border into Canada, over the border into Mexico, in search of the cryptids. And of course, living in New Jersey, I've been down South Jersey in the Pine Barrens after, the Jersey Devil, and like I always say, my thing is to prove or to disprove, and this past January, my team and I went up to North Carolina. Actually, we went there in 3 months. We went twice because we got so many calls. And the first time we went, I had to disprove because it was a real animal that was just an anomaly. Yeah. And it turned out to be a black bear that was larger than your average black bear. He was like 6'5", and his snout was mutated. And I'm going like this because his snout was out to here.
Wow.
I'm talking a big snout. And people were calling it a Dogman. And I originally got 5, and then I got 7, and it wound up with 9 different calls and communications. We went down there, and like on the 3rd day, we found him. Well, he found us. Right. Did you guys know that a bear sense of smell is 300 to 400 times stronger than a human's?
I had no idea.
That's why they stand up. They go bipedal and they're sniffing around. Well, this particular mutated bear, he came out of the bushes at us, and we hit him with pepper spray, bear spray. And he rubbed his nose in the ground, took off. But he was a big one. Black bear go 4 feet 6 inches to about 6 feet. He was 6'5", because we measured the bushes that he came from. He didn't even bother going around them. He just came right through, roaring at us. He was lucky we didn't shoot him. But I spoke to the forest ranger over there, and he goes, "Oh, that's nothing." He goes, "Years ago, back in I think it was the late '80s, they had a black bear there that was like 6'9", 880 pounds." This one that I saw, I'm estimating weighed about 700 pounds.
That's a big black bear.
It is. It's very big. But, you have anomalies in everything in life. I mean, look at that guy, the basketball player, Yao Ming, who played for the NBA. The guy was close to 8 feet tall. I mean, he's an anomaly. I mean, you have it in everything. Down in South Jersey, they found, last year, they found several 2-headed snakes. I mean, that's weird to see, but it's an anomaly. That's all. Right. I mean, you're going to get that in everything in life. Yeah. So something I did learn, though, is that in North Carolina, where we went, black bears do not hibernate. Because I got a lot of detractors sending me messages. Hey, the bears are hibernating that time of the year. No, they don't. Nope. Wow. I checked with the forest ranger, and he goes, they are out all year round. Wow. So I learned something. I do zoology myself, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that. I read a lot about bears. I never read that about the bears.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Real quick, I want to say, I've seen there's been some questions for Nick. And
go ahead.
Yeah, well, I starred them, and at the second half of the show, we'll get to questions.
Okay.
So if anybody has questions, anybody else, put them in all caps, please. And the second half of the show, we will be sure to ask Nick all your questions. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
All right.
Yeah. So, okay, back on the bears.
Interesting.
Something. I mean, like I said, I am trying to get a master's degree right now in zoology. I already have my bachelor's. I already did some time in at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., because if you're doing zoology, you got to put some intern time in. Yeah. You got to sweep out the bear cage, all that stuff, and collect poop samples and all that. And it's a marvelous place. You guys, if you haven't been there, you have to go there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's a wonderful place. The National Zoo over there in Washington, DC. It's just wonderful. But other bears, and I've mentioned this several times, that's why people have to be careful when you're out there. If you go to an area where you have brown bears or grizzlies, and this is noted, people can look this up, a brown or a grizzly bear, yes, they're big, but they're immensely strong. Therefore, that strength lends a lot of speed to them.
Mm-hmm.
A brown or a grizzly bear can go from 0 to 50 miles an hour in 3 seconds.
Wow.
Holy sugar. This thing's 150 feet away from you. It sniffs you out. And remember, brown bear and grizzly are aggressive, just like polar bear. They're aggressive, but we don't have any down here, thank God. I mean, those things go 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
But people really should get out to the zoos, because if you've ever seen like a brown bear, 8 feet tall, an 8-foot tall brown bear standing up, and it's like a roaring. I mean, most people will pee themselves just being in a zoo with the bear doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm outside of St. Louis, and St. Louis has a fantastic zoo. And they have lots of bears. And so, yeah. And as you said, they're bigger than you think, from what you see on TV. They're huge.
Yeah.
And I'm still blown away by the size of that black bear, because, we have black bear in Missouri, but they say they're only like maybe 300 to 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So up 700 pounds. Holy smokes.
Well, like I said, the ranger told me they had 169, 880 pounds. They wound up shooting it because it was really being aggressive. And the place where it was found, I mean, it's near a lake and people do picnics there with their family. And I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it, because you got to be aware of the bears, just like if you're down in Florida. I hate to tell people, but you got to be aware of the alligators. I mean, they'll come right into your backyard.
Yes.
Right.
And an alligator can climb a chain link fence.
I did not.
Yeah, I have an aunt.
That one.
I have an aunt who lives there. And when I was visiting her, I was driving the streets, going to the supermarket or going to the mall. And I saw this alligator, all right, not a super big one, not an 11 or 12 footer, but I would estimate he was about a 7 footer. He was climbing a chain link fence.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? They had a pool in the backyard. They can climb it. And I don't know, maybe the bigger ones can climb. A lot of people have cinder block walls. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you really have to watch out for them. And then they got the little gators, the geckos. They're all over the place, but they're kind of harmless. They don't even bite.
Well, it's too, I'd be scared to let my kids out or my pets or,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see ladies out there walking their little tiny dogs. They're 5-pound dogs. Yeah. And I was speaking with my aunt about that. And she goes, yeah, a lot of times people have their dogs and they get snatched, so that's why they try to stay away from the foliage or anything, because those gators are very fast,
Yeah. I've heard that.
Something I'd like to report and just mention again here, because I'm such a advocate of bear spray. Bear spray, which is it's a type of red pepper spray. It works on gators.
Okay.
Hey, Donnie.
Thank you.
How you doing there?
I appreciate it. That for sure.
At least we don't got crocodiles.
Yeah. Brandy, where are you at? Are you in Missouri also?
Yes, I am in the boot heel down at the bottom. I'm right near Arkansas and Tennessee, Illinois. I'm right here in this little box at the bottom.
Wow. Yeah, been to Arkansas a lot more times than I can think. So, cryptids aren't the only thing people are going to bump into when they're out there in the forest on their adventure trying to find Bigfoot or trying to find Dogman. God, I don't know why anybody would want to find Dogman. I mean, seriously, you think he's going to want to pose for selfies with you? No. I mean, it's like, there's wolf spiders out there bigger than my hand, okay? Yeah. And they're on trees. And when we were out in Oklahoma a couple years back, we were coming out of some bushes. My whole team, we were coming out of bushes because we heard this lady scream. And they were trying to help her out. The people that were with her, she had about 9 people with her, and she got bit by a wolf spider. But you're not going to die from that. However,
No.
if you we wear Kevlar gaiters on our 8-inch boots, okay? Because if a poisonous snake bites you in the leg, it's not getting through both the Kevlar and my boots.
Right.
Right. I mean, we've tested this out, and so we take precautions when we're out there. We just don't go walking around willy-nilly.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think that they can just go out there with their cell phone, their bottle of water, and maybe some munchies, and go 2 miles into the woods and think, "Oh, I'm safe." No, you're not.
Yeah.
You got mountain lion, cougar out there, things like that, and you go
regular animals that people, when they're out there looking for these Bigfoot and Dogman and whatever else, the real ones they really need to pay attention, are the native ones.
Exactly. And I mean, like, we had some Dogman, how can I put them, claw marks on a tree, and a couple of our guys are like little monkeys. They could just climb like that. So I had one guy, had Eddie, go up to the tree to see how far it went and if he went to another tree. Eddie's halfway up the tree and he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna have to come down." He came down and he pointed. He actually lit up his laser and he shot it where he saw a snake, and it was a poisonous snake.
Wow.
And I mean, there's ways to tell a poisonous snake versus a regular snake, and that's something people ought to know. But this snake, Brandy, Krista, I'm going to tell you, this snake was this much around, and it was up there, and it was about a good 5 feet long. And he was like, "No, I didn't want to go any further, and I didn't see any claw marks, so I came down."
Yeah.
And he was correct, because I mean, getting bit on the leg, we have our gaiters and our boots, but his arms.
Yeah.
And then you got to get that person out. See, guys, we don't just go a mile into the woods. We go generally a minimum of 6 to 7 miles in, and a lot of times we go 10 to 12. We're talking about areas that have 200, 500,000, acres, 200,000 acres. Sometimes if you're looking at the Jersey Shore, Pine Barrens, you got 1 million acres down there. And when you're deep in there, your cell phones sometimes don't work. So, we'll take our Garmin minis with us. They're they're expensive, but they're little GPS units that people can find you. You could hit an SOS button. You could text message on it to somebody. And, if one of our guys gets hurt, you get a compound fracture, you got to get them out of there.
Right.
Thank God nothing like that's happened, except one time when I didn't go with 7 people up in New York State, where Jeremiah Fountain lives. And that particular case was supposed to be a Dogman. It turned out to be a giant Sasquatch. I gave it over to him. Because I said, "No, we don't deal with those things that are that large." Right. So he took it over, and my God. And one of my guys was injured because the Sasquatch actually threw a giant tree branch at us in like 1:30 in the morning. It was pitch black up there. And my guy is not a stumble bug by any means, and he tripped and he really torqued his knee. So we did first aid on him and we got him out of there. But at least we verified for the lady, you don't have a Dogman problem. So stop calling up the boss who was in charge of the group at the time. And, I gave her Jeremiah's number. I gave Jeremiah her number, and I guess he contacted her and gave her the whole lowdown. But we're talking, and I know people are going to freak about this, but we're talking about a 15-foot Sasquatch.
Wow. Holy
no
cow.
joke.
Usually
no joke, guys.
They're just 8, 9 feet,
8, 9, 10. You've got your 11 and 12s out there. I know Jeremiah's seen 12-footers, but 15 feet. I was talking to Jeremiah about it because, like I said, he's my go-to guy for that. We were talking about this, and I said, the thing's got to weigh about 3,000 pounds.
Yeah. The
bone thickness must be maybe 4 or 5 inches around on the bones. And
Yeah.
you've got the hide, you've got the muscle, and I doubt if there's any fat on these things because they live off the land. But like I said, guys, we go out fully jocked up. We have rifles, we have high-powered automatic pistols, and it's not something we could have taken care of.
Right.
Because a 308 is not going to take down a 15-foot Sasquatch with that kind of bone density. I mean, yeah, Marquette, it's that's what I said. This was too big. We proved it because the owner of the house had taken pictures of it, and the tree that it was near, we measured where the eye shine was. Guys, there were no branches near that tree that she took the picture of it.
Yeah.
And she took several, and we could see the shape and the eyes. And when I put a tape measure up there, it was 15 feet up. Now, I'm not the only person that's reported a 15-foot Sasquatch. I don't want to mention his name because maybe I'm not supposed to, but the gentleman that went to Alaska, he's a big Bigfoot guy. He also found 15-foot Bigfoot down there. And he did all the scientific measurements of depth of the footprint, the width of the footprint. And he goes, this guy was a 16-footer. And I believe it because you know what? In Alaska, you wouldn't think about this, but in Alaska, there's a lot of food. I mean, you've got the different types of deer, caribou up there. You've got fish. You've got the fish in the water. People seem to not realize that, Sasquatch, Dogman, they go to areas where there's water because every living thing needs water.
Correct.
So 3 days without water, and most likely they're going to be hurting. And they need food, and it's plentiful up there in Alaska.
Yeah.
And
quick question on the ones that I guess that are I don't know if it's a mutation as you talked about, the 15, 16 footer Bigfoots, or do they act like the normal typical Sasquatch? Or are they aggressive ones? Have you found like a difference in that?
Well, the one we went up in upstate New York, I kind of think it was trying to keep us away from it because I was actually shining this laser, and so was one of my partners there that night. That was one of the nights I broke my rule. This lady was bugging us so much, screaming and yelling on the phone, sending Facebook messages to me and my former boss, and he asked me to go. All right, so I took 2 guys up with me, and we never do that. And I'm telling you, I wish I never did do it because one of our guys did get injured. But this one in particular looked like it was trying to get us to get out of the area.
Gotcha.
And, it won. But what would we have done if something like that would have rambled at us?
Yeah.
I mean, we would have hit it with the pepper spray. We would have hit it with everything we had, but I don't know. I mean, you're talking, guys, just go outside your house and measure 15 feet.
Yeah.
And most cars are about, what, 3,000 pounds. I mean, this thing could have been heavier than that because Jeremiah seems to think it may have been heavier.
Wow.
I mean, it was gigantic.
Wow.
Just to let you know, people may have heard me say this before, but it was the lady's fault who owned the house. She used to gift them food.
Oh,
there was a tree stump in her backyard. Her backyard was clear, 100 by 100. In the backyard, about 10 feet from the edge of her property was a tree. They cut a stump. It was 3 feet high. She used to leave apples on it every day.
Wow.
You cannot gift a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, what have you, because once you stop, it's going to get mad.
Right.
If you want to give it shiny things like a shiny, penny or a shiny stone or a little race car or something, a box car, that's fine. But food, no, right. You can't. She left because she had to take care of her parents for 4 days. They were sick. She came back and she found all kinds of damage on the side of her house.
Wow. Yeah.
So, it's like never, never, never gift food. Never.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
same with dog. What are your thoughts on you hear people doing whoops out in the woods or tree knocks? What are your thoughts on that?
Don't be surprised what happens to you because you might be near their area where their family lives. You might be near a kill that they just made. Say they killed a deer. I think the whoops are communication and the knocks are communication. That's what I believe.
Right.
You know, other Bigfooters out there, maybe they'll say different, but I think it's a communication. Now, I would say, because my research that I've read, and also in speaking with people that do Bigfoot, my curiosity was what in the trees that are ripped out of the ground and put back in upside down.
Right.
I think that is a warning to stay the heck away from this area, not just to us, but maybe to other tribes of Sasquatch.
Sure.
And remember, there's in Dogman land, we identified 7 different types of Dogman because they have different face looks. They've identified at least 11 different types of Sasquatch.
Wow.
So depending on which type of Sasquatch you got, like the Gugway is aggressive.
Right.
I mean, the Gugway means, face terror, tear your face off thing. I mean, the Algonquin Indians, the First Nations people in Canada will tell you, they don't like them at all. Oh, they don't like Dogman either, but they don't like the Gugway because a lot of the tribes up there have the stories of them, having heads torn right off.
Right.
So, just to answer your question, sometimes they're giving you a warning. Those whoops or those knocks, they might be communicating with each other, but they know you could hear it.
Right.
So they're saying, okay, maybe this is a twofold thing. We're talking to each other and we're telling them, hey, we're here, get out. Get out. We're over here. We don't need you to bother us. And you don't want to get between them and a kill. And you don't want to get between them and a water source, like a river or whatever, or a stream, especially if they're, if that's their daily thing, if they're on their way there and there you are. And, it's just things out there besides regular creatures. And then you find a Sasquatch and it's like, oh God. I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, you guys live in a house. You got what, 8.5 foot ceilings? I mean, just look up there, and then you just stand there and put your hand up. You can't touch that.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Doubling my ceilings.
Dogman go around 650, 700 pounds. Most Sasquatch are up there 900, 1,000, 1,200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the bigger ones, of course they're going to be heavier because they got more muscle mass, more bone density. And it's a scary thing to be out there, especially since, I tell a lot of people, I say, hey, remember when you're out there, look up, even in your everyday life, look up, because you never know what's up there because we live in a funny society where people could just freak out at any moment. But you're out there, could have a mountain lion 10 feet off the ground in a tree because a mountain lion from a standstill can jump 14 feet.
Wow.
So it's like, come on. And people don't realize bear can climb trees. It's just to get it out there to everybody. Snakes can climb trees. Spiders can climb trees, Yeah.
So don't only look up for any weirdness, look up for, the animals that, that are there.
I mean,
I feel like people need to educate themselves on the area and what kind of native animals are out there as well, before going out there.
But Krista, when I was in Moscow, Maine, on that Dogman research, I had a person come from the Cryptozoology Museum up there, and she was collecting things while we're out there, and we identified I don't know, if you want to call it a mountain lion or a cougar, but it was, let's call it a mountain lion paw prints. And I'm looking at these paw prints, I'm going, that's no little kitty cat. I mean, these paw prints were big.
Yeah.
And she picked up the scat that was out there. She also picked up a moose skeleton. I guess that got eaten up there real nice. But yeah, I mean, come on. We're not supposed to have cougars or mountain lions up in Maine.
Wow.
But it does not mean that the animal will not go outside its boundaries. You can't tell an animal, oh, you can't come from Missouri and come all the way up to Maine. That's bull. They go where they want to go.
Right.
Yeah. New Jersey has black bear, but there have been sightings of brown bear, and that is scary. You know how strong, I mean, I'm sorry, but your door, unless you have a reinforced door with bars on the back, like the old castles, they would bar the doors, they would put a piece of wood. Unless you have reinforced doors with bars, if a bear went up to your door and whacked it, a black bear now, that door's going flying open.
Absolutely.
So if he wants in, he's in. And like I said, we've had some sightings of brown bear. And, oh, by the way, hi, Gary. And that's crazy scary. A brown bear. Oh, my God.
So and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a grizzly and a brown bear, aren't they the same or similar?
They're cousins. Yep, okay. They're cousins. Okay. It's just a facial difference.
Gotcha.
The grizzly has a fatter face.
Right. Okay. All right. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. All of this stuff just really intrigues me. Brandy and I are new to the cryptid side of it, and we've been out a couple times now, and we're actually going out again in May. Looking forward to it. So we do our homework for sure, and
oh yeah,
talk to people such as yourself. What advice would you give to somebody like us who's totally new doing this and wanting to go out?
Well, if you can go out with firearms, I would definitely do that. Make sure, where you shoot. If you do have to shoot, make sure, if you miss, it's not going to kill somebody, half a mile down the road. Number one. But really, I would take bear spray with me and learn how to use it, because there's a safety on that. Yeah. You don't want to pop your bear spray up and point it at the bear that's running at you and say, aha, and then you're pressing and it's not working. It's because the safety is still in there. Make sure you learn how to use it. And when you do go out, take a backpack, tell other people where you're going, when you're going, and what time to expect you back. Because remember, you don't only have cryptids and regular animals out there that are predators, you got human predators.
Right.
And I have a lot of members of mine who have actually become friends of mine. Angelique, if you're listening right now, they've been walking, just to do like health walks. And luckily, some of these ladies actually carry. And one lady in particular was almost accosted until he looked down the barrel of her .45 caliber pointing right at him, because this guy was up to no good. And then what happens a month later is a girl gets kidnapped and never seen again in that area, with this particular place I'm talking about. So you've got human predators out there too, which is horrible, guys. That's just. Yeah,
it's very, very, very true.
I'm more concerned about the human aspect.
Yeah.
Than I am the cryptid.
Yeah. But I mean, if you guys go out there, like, it's only happened a couple of times with us. My full team, we were out in the field and we came across an abandoned building, and you can hear all kinds of noises in the building. It was getting late. It was like 6:00 and it was dark and it was getting late. And, we're really not afraid of anything, but we were going to park ourselves in the building for shelter. But we decided, we're going to walk another mile and go over there. But the next morning we checked the building out, and it turned out to be an old prison, and you had all kinds of noises going on. So I would take my, for lack of a better term, ghost busting stuff with me. I would take some, white salt, black salt. I would take holy water with me, and whatever else you take with you when you do paranormal stuff. Because like I said, you don't know what you're coming against.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're coming up against, say, an alien, we haven't had that, but I'm betting on my laser. I'm betting on my pepper spray. I'm betting on my electronic flashbangs, which I wish I had down here to show you guys. We were doing practice at work with them, and mine are kind of dead. They're charging right now, but they let off 146 decibels of real ear-piercing sound and 1,200 lumens of light that's flashing. And something like that just might disrupt something.
Yeah.
Not to mention the firepower that we carry. So we're going to try to go home safely, and put everything out at that thing. If there's something there that's strange that we don't know and it's attacking us. So, but for you guys, please, bear spray, the different salt, the holy water, firearms, if you can take them with you. Make sure you have at least 3 flashlights. You don't want to be caught in a house trying to change batteries out, fumbling around to change the battery. Oh, it's good to have batteries. Yeah, have an extra set. But please, I really think three flashlights is good. You know, get a 800,000 lumen, 1,200 lumen flashlight. This way you can light the place up. When we were in the radar stations in Moscow, Maine, it was pitch dark in that building. You know, and I couldn't just go and flick on a switch and say, "Oh wow, I want to look around." The only way we were looking around is with flashlights. Yeah. You know, and I'm glad I had them with me. You know, it really lit the place up, and it was interesting. You know, what we use, you know, in the old days to watch the Russians, you know, letting their bombers take off or whatever, seeing if they're having missiles out there.
Right.
I don't know. I was just thinking about, like, if I run across an alien, I'd be like, okay, you got me. Here's a granola bar and some water.
No. You don't want to be taken up to the alien ship, you know. I mean,
no, I'm trying to offer him something. Just like, leave me alone. Here, take what I got. Here's my granola bar. Here's some water.
And he's like, well, I could take it anyway. So what's your next? What else you got? Come on, you know.
Yeah.
My phone, you can have that too.
We're not interested. We had those years ago. We communicate by brain, you know, brain waves.
You know, when Brandy and I did,
that's what I said. I wouldn't know at that point. Yeah, it's like I've been in certain circumstances where, you know, it's something has taken you by surprise, and it's been in the woods and things like that. Just like we were talking about the coyotes and all of that kind of thing. So, well, I've been caught up by a few, and you're just sitting there going, okay, so I've got 2 over there and 1 over there. So if I take these 2 out, there's still 1 over there. And, you know, it's like you don't have time to think about that. It's just kind of like, just do what you can and do it in a hurry.
That's why you have to have awareness when you're out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, you do have to look up all the time. Don't go leaning against a tree like that one lady in Oklahoma did, you know, and get bit by a, massive spider.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. This comment here, Penny Van said, Brandy, that alien would just tell you, now I'm here for your uterus. Keep the chocolate for the trauma after. Heard a lot of stories about that. No, when Brandy and I, we went to the LBL, and, we've seen some weirdness.
Which one? Kentucky or Tennessee?
We were on the Kentucky side.
That's where I was last, right?
Yeah. And, one thing we didn't even think to do, and there was a bunch of us there, but it's to look up in the skies or look up in the trees,
Just look up.
Yeah.
Yep. Even look up.
Yeah.
We were so distracted by everything happening in front of us that we did not look up. Which is, for number one, that's a mistake.
Right.
And sometimes it can be fatal. It's a fatal mistake not to look up. But we also could have missed something really cool, just by not looking up.
But the canopy is so thick up there.
It is.
That, DA must have told you about when he and I went there. It was like, wow, we were at the Nickel Cemetery, and at our 2:00, we heard some noise. And then a few seconds later at our 10:00, it was that noise. Yeah. Something ran straight over there and stopped and started observing us again. And then on our way out, one of the mornings, he actually got a better look, full on view. I saw that in my peripherals, and I was like, whoa, and he told me stop. I pulled back. We got out. I'm like, what are we going to do? Chase this thing? We don't have any, all our weapons are in the vehicle. We were leaving for the day, but we were there at nighttime. A lot of times at nighttime. That's the best time.
Yeah. I agree.
Unbelievable.
We were too. We're actually going back in a few weeks too. We're going back to the LBL. And, last time I was there, we went to the 1982 kill site. And we had some weirdness going on there. We heard audible voices, which I had an EVP recorder with me, and my questions were based around the 1982 kill. I thought, if people have been killed here, possibly spirits, ghosts, or something.
Right.
However, when we were trekking out of the woods, there was something definitely following us out in the woods. You could
Really?
hear it. You could definitely hear it. So that was pretty interesting, I gotta say.
Well, Kristen,
Wow.
tell Nick what happened the next day when you went back to
Yeah, now
listen.
this was interesting. So another gal was there too, and I had the EVP recorder going. I've been a ghost hunter for 15 years. I know how to run an EVP recorder.
Hmm.
And there was another gal there too with her phone, and she was getting the same thing. She was filming with her phone. The next day, we put the recorder on, and and it was gone, totally wiped out, gone.
Huh.
She went to her phone, gone. Everything she had recorded was not there. So that's on the woo side, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
I
the
get-
files
I-
were missing.
Yeah.
All the files were missing.
Yeah. So I have no idea if I had responses. I mean, we were there for, a little bit and asked, a lot of questions, Dogman type,
Yeah.
in the killing and stuff. And yeah. So when we go back, we are going back to the kill site and we're going to try it again. But this time we'll take several recorders and phones and, surely somebody's got to keep.
You know what? Take one of the old-fashioned tape recorders, with the
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah.
And maybe it can't mess with that. Maybe it's messing with your electronics,
Yeah.
because they have memory cards in the modern recorders. So maybe if you just use tape, who knows?
Yeah.
That's how we feel. I mean, sometimes we'll bring just a film camera,
Mhm.
with us, but a lot of times the stuff that is seen, like I said, we went to North Carolina twice in the past 3 months. First time in January, second time the end of February, the last day of February, and into March. And sure enough, and it was just 4 of us. Sure enough, 2 of my guys actually had a sighting 2 days in a row.
Wow.
It was just 4 of us. Like I said, I like 7-man teams, but I couldn't get that many. We went back to this it was a totally different area from the bear area, totally different area. I would mention the area, except, we still haven't finished. We're still getting reports on it, and I'll publish a big thing in the IDP USA. But what happened there was I split us up, 2 guys west, 2 guys east.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I went the wrong way. I went towards the east, 2 guys that went towards the west. It was the second day that we're there, and the first sighting, it was about 6:30 at nighttime. They sighted an actual Dogman crossing the roadway,
Wow.
going from the cornfield didn't have corn in it, but it had stalks up, and just ran right across into the next one, right across the road. And they're calling us on the radio saying, if you guys are close by, come down here quick. They're half a mile away. Second day we go there. We get a call again. It's here again. Where are you? We were close to a mile away. We had full gear on. We ran, and we just did not get there in time. And the guys didn't think to take pictures because this thing was moving. And I'm, how I was saying a grizzly and a brown bear can go 0 to 50 in 3 seconds. Well, this thing must have been doing about 50 because it went right across the road, and that was it. It was like, we saw it. We know what we saw. And I says, it wasn't a bear. He goes, bears don't run on 2 feet, 50 mile an hour. This thing was on 2 feet, and it was booking right across the road. So, of course, I go back the next day and I say, okay, this time we've got your side. You got our side, and there was nothing. But both guys got sightings 2 days in a row. And, we confirmed what the people were calling us about.
Yeah.
Took some samples. There were some scat samples. I'm hoping to get the stuff back and see what it's all about. The scat samples, because we didn't take that much, but I'm talking big samples here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, God, what the heck is this thing?
Right.
What did you eat?
Yeah.
What did you say, Brandy?
You must be eating
what did you eat?
Right.
Yeah. She's talking to the Dogman. I think the Dogman had biscuits and gravy and deer meat. That's what it looked like, because it was a large pile, and this wasn't no bear poop. I'm aware of what bear poop looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And but wow. So, I mean, like when you're out there, you really need to be prepared, have something to eat. Because if you do decide, that you're going to go out a little further and, you sort of lose the time that you've been out there. If you're walking for 5 hours, your energy level, dips down. You need to make sure you hydrate. Because otherwise, if you're out there in the summertime, my God, your energy level just drops real fast.
Right.
Well, when I was young, my dad would take us out hunting. Well, he would take me out. Anyway, and he would tell me what all the poop was. This is this and this is this. And I'm like, who knew at my age that I need to know what kind of poop that came from?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Right. I'm like, well, some information came in handy.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially what berries you can eat and what berries you should never eat. And,
right.
which
I guess
mushrooms.
It was so I would know what type of animals were in the area while I was out there.
Definitely. Yeah. That's why I told you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you got a warning. At least you got a warning. I mean, if you saw a big pile of scat and it was still steaming and you identified it as bear scat and it's still steaming, well, that bear's probably sniffing you now.
Yeah, right. Right.
And I tell you, I when I go out there, I am prepared, so I'm not going to play that game. Oh, lay down, and if it's a black bear, and it'll play with you, and it'll leave you alone. Now, sometimes it won't. You ever see the claws on these things? I mean, they're going to rip you apart.
Yes.
I've seen a black bear in Pennsylvania go up to a truck and try to open the car door, to the door to the truck, and it got frustrated. And it just slashed at it, and it ripped right into that metal sheeting.
No.
Wow.
And if it's a brown bear or a grizz, they're not going to play with you. They're going to rip you apart and eat you and bite you.
Absolutely.
I don't want that. I don't want that biting on my head. I mean, no.
Right.
Eesh.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, we're at the 52-minute mark, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back in 5, everybody.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Tight. We'll be right back.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Welcome back. Appreciate everybody sticking around with us. And you know what? When we started the show, my mind is just off today with Olivia's birthday.
I just let it go. I figured we'd do it after the break.
Why don't you do it now?
Okay. On Monday night, starting at May 1st at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch Texas Front Porch with me and Tex. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, Van Buren Variety comes on. At 8 p.m. Central on Tuesday, it's Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. On Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, it's Jason McLean's Questions Everything. On Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with BMR and Krista. It doesn't say that in the title, but it's and Krista. Or I should wait that way. And Krista. And Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, you can check out Blondes and Booze. And on Friday at 8 p.m. Central, Blondes, Booze, and the Woo comes on. And Saturday, Danielle, Diva, and Tex drop their next episode of Infamous Minds.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, everybody. I totally forgot, man. It's just been a day. It seriously has been a day.
I was just like, well, she'll get it.
It hit me halfway through, and I wrote it down, so I remembered this time. Real quick before we talk more cryptid stuff, Nick, let's talk the Dogman conference that you're going to
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to bring that flyer up.
Oh
here.
yeah, it's in Fort Worth, Texas. It'll be this September. What they don't put up there is that there's a VIP night. That's September 1st. The ticket is a little more money than normal, but with the swag and the prizes you get and the food, I mean, you get a dinner right there. It's worth the extra money. So you buy a ticket on September 1st, you got the second and the third all combined in there. And I mean, it's actually the VIP night was worth it. When we had this conference last year in Paris, Tennessee, the VIP tickets, they went like hotcakes. I mean, they really honestly sold out. I called Josh up. I said, Josh, some of my people need tickets. Can you put some more out? He put more out. They sold out. So, I mean, it was a great time. You get some great food, really fantastic food. You're going to have to eat anyway, dinner, right, guys? You know, and you get to hang out with all of us over there. And Josh Turner gives everybody a goodie bag. And I don't mean a junky old goodie bag. I mean, you got some really good stuff in there. You know, get everybody to sign your I guess they give a flyer out just like this one. I'm going to have to bring a gold or a silver pen this year so I can sign it. You know, I didn't have any pens last year, so I had to borrow it. But yeah, it's going to be a heck of a time. This year, you've got at least 1/3 more speakers
Yeah.
And
Fantastic lineup of
it's fa-
speakers, I have to say.
it really is. It really is. Yeah, only Josh Turner can do this because he knows everybody out there and he's
Right.
got the clout. And Josh is the only one that could have ever did the first one.
Yeah.
Seriously. And he did get everybody together for that one. And here we got the second one going on. This time it'll be in Fort Worth, Texas. I drove last year to Paris, Tennessee. I don't think I'm driving this year. That's a little too far. Just a little bit.
Right. And see, Brandy and I, we are driving.
Oh, but you're in
Yeah,
Missouri.
We're in
My
Missouri.
God.
So, yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, and guess who got VIP tickets? We did.
You guys did already? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're going to love the food. Oh, God.
Yeah. So we will be there also. And, you had talked about Brandy and I, Blondes and Booze, we have a big banner. And any convention that we go to or any haunted location that, somebody is there, we always have our banner out and we have people sign it. So, Nick, we will be hitting you up to sign our banner.
It'll be easy to find you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at all the yellow and purple in it and everything. I mean, that's an easy one.
Well, we have big banners, so.
So I got a question for you two. Have you ever heard of a growler bear?
No.
Or a pizzly bear? Or
No.
a grizzlar bear? That's
No.
what you get when you made a polar bear with a grizzly bear. And
Wow.
it's generally up in the Arctic regions of Canada.
Mhm.
So don't anybody think that grizzly bears don't travel. They travel up there and they do mate. And that's what you get. And you actually get a thicker, bigger, and meaner bear when those two mate. Oh my God. Really big. I think somebody asked a question about that too.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. I can go ahead and throw that one up here. Here you go. Roger Blair asked it.
Yep. Raj, it's up in the Canadian Arctic area.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought they would be more competition or, would fight each other possibly, not breed.
Yeah. It's just amazing that they do those things. But
Yeah.
I like the name, the growler bear. It just sounds so cool. But there is such a thing.
Yeah.
You've guys seen when they mated lions with tigers, right?
Right.
And they come out with these ginormous beasts, these ligers or whatever. I mean, they are really big.
Yeah.
So I just guess something in the DNA kicks off and it gives them enormous size.
Yeah. Same thing with a mule, that's a donkey and a horse.
Yep, a donkey and a horse. Yep.
Yep.
So,
Simple as that.
what color are they generally? Are they primarily white, brown, or?
You know what? You're going to get all kinds of colors, and sometimes the mama bear gives birth to 4 or 5 of them,
Wow.
and it's not uncommon to see a lightish brown, and then you got 3 white ones, and then you'll have like a dark brown one. So they're it's just all different colors. I don't think they all come out the same all the time.
And now, are they a solid color?
Well, there are some light brown ones, and there are some. I mean, that I've watched a couple of documentaries on this, and I mean they're cute as hell. But boy, it shows years down the road, and they are gigantic. But they're not all the same color. Some of them are solid white. Yes.
Wow. And I guess the grizzly bears and the polar bears, they have different type faces. So I wonder if it's kind of a mixture, between the two.
Yeah, so the ones I saw in the documentary, it was more, I don't know, it took more of a grizzly bear look.
Gotcha.
Whereas the polar bear has that snout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Interesting to know. Let's talk real quick about what we were talking about backstage.
Yeah.
I find that interesting about, you could.
It's like the footsteps to nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like to call it where the footprint ends. I've been out with my team on many occasions, and we'll pick up the Sasquatch type footprint. Your Sasquatch footprint, which is
It doesn't have claws, but it has like a fingernail that's bent downwards, but you could tell it's a nail.
Mhm.
And you'll have like 30 or 40, or sometimes 50 footprints, and then it ends. And it's in a big area, and there's no trees around, there's nothing around. So thinking outside the box, like you guys, you mentioned yourself, the woo. Well, where did this thing go? Physicists say that there's 11 different dimensions. So I'm thinking maybe this Bigfoot or the Dogman, because they disappear, they go into a tree and they're gone, or they'll run across a roadway and you won't see anything. There's no flickering of say they go into a cornfield, there's no flickering of corn or anything, So where do they go? It's possible, since there are 11 other dimensions, that the Sasquatch or Dogman has opened up a portal and went someplace else. That's pretty scary, guys, when you really think about it.
Yeah.
And it's also possible that the Dogman, Mothman, Sasquatch might be an alien, of an alien race, or they might be the pets, soldiers, forerunners for an alien race. And maybe at the end in that field, it lets it know, and it lets the spaceship know, and the spaceship zips them up. And you're not going to be able to see it if they have that kind of technology.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say, oh, Dogman, not so much Sasquatch, but Dogman might be a spirit.
Mhm.
Well, I had an encounter, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and even you guys are talking about the 1982 LBL
Mhm.
massacre. It's live. It needs to eat. It needs to drink because it's found near bodies of water. It hunts deer. Sasquatch hunts deer also. Dogman hunts deer. Either that or it comes from another dimension and maybe it looks this way because it's here. There's a lot to think about. If we had a library with a giant round table and we had a couple dozen people out of it, I'm going to tell you, we'd be going through an awful lot of coffee and we'd be there a long, long time just discussing the different intricate ways, that these things might act or react or what they do.
Yeah.
Because how is it that in the middle of a field, a big 8-foot Sasquatch suddenly disappears?
Right.
Now,
Right.
don't tell me, oh, suddenly it went into cloaking mode. Okay, you're in cloaking mode, fine. But where are your footprints? You had to walk someplace.
Yeah.
And something that weighs that kind of poundage, it's going to put an indent in the earth someplace.
Mhm. Yeah. And you see, I've heard of people, like where they see Bigfoot tracks, but then they just disappear in the middle of nowhere in snow.
Yeah. And and there's nothing there. I've been in upstate Pennsylvania a couple of times last year, and we were tracking Dogman tracks because we got reports of Dogman over there. And I couldn't take casts of the prints, by the way, in the snow. It just didn't work.
Mhm.
Everything I tried didn't work. I got to find a different way. But long story short, it looked like Dogman tracks. It had the claw marks. It had the footprints, and it just disappeared. Now, in these cases, they were near trees, and we did see some scratch marks on the trees. So that's a possibility over there.
Right.
But some other prints, they just stopped, and they weren't near trees.
Yeah.
Either that or the Dogman can jump 50 feet into a tree. I don't think so, but
Yeah.
it's strange, guys. It's really strange. Just like when you go into a haunted house, sometimes you can't explain the noise.
Sure.
Most of the times I was able to explain the noise when I was doing that, but
Yeah.
you don't know what you're going to come up against.
Yeah.
You go in a haunted house, there might be an alien spaceship next door. Let's combine it all,
Yeah.
So what is it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There, when we go into, people don't realize, like a lot of these haunted locations, you're just sitting in a room in the dark and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
TV, I think, has sensationalized
Sensationalized it. Yes, they
word.
have.
So much, that people think it's all fun and games and it's all, just excitement the whole time, and it's not. And I feel like,
No.
however, our trip to the LBL was pretty eventful for most of the evening, so I can't
Yeah.
really say that on that side of things. But as far as paranormal, yeah.
Yeah,
What
when
do
you're
you
out,
think about like the orbs and stuff? Because we actually saw orbs out there.
yes, I won't get into the whole deal, but I did a 6-month investigation research on that, and I put it to where people that reported sightings or encounters with Dogman and Sasquatch, and the people, it came out to be, the percentage went up.
Mhm.
It went up to almost 94% at this point of the people that saw an orb in the sky before the sighting or encounter, an orb in the sky after, or an orb in the sky, a lighted orb
Mhm.
before and after. So that's where I'm trying to put things together here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could Sasquatch, Dogman be part of an alien race?
Yeah.
And
Very true. And I was actually telling DA about my encounter out there at the LBL, well, Brandy and myself. And then, we seen these creatures peeking out from behind trees. And then after that, and it wasn't just one of us, it was several of us saw these. Throughout the evening, we were seeing these orbs, but they were different colors. Some of them were white. I personally seen a reddish orangish glow. Some seen blue. Was that, maybe a Dogman or Bigfoot, trying to come closer? I have no idea. But then DA, he made a good point too. There's a lot of cemeteries and things like that, in the trace, a lot of awful things happen to that out there.
Right.
So it could be on the paranormal realm. It could have been, ghost or, something like that out there as well. So, it's just, my mind's open to all of this. It's, I don't feel like I'm going to have the answers till I'm in the ground and be like, oh, okay.
Well, doing my newspaper research, I'm sorry, Brandy. In doing my newspaper research and things like that in different states, graveyards, since you mentioned that, Dogman is usually a protector of Native American graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's been noted in books. It's been noted in newspapers where trappers have actually stolen things from Native American graveyards, and they've been tracked down by Dogman. I mean, there's a whole half a book on that about these French trackers that did such a thing back in the late 1700s. So yeah, that's a possibility. And like I said, if there is a connection, guys, between the orbs in the sky and Dogman, I mean, that would be a big breakthrough right there if we can prove that.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that so Dogmen are supposed to be a protector of Native American burial grounds? Do you think that could transfer over to regular cemeteries with people with Native American descent?
It's a possibility, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you have Native Americans buried in this section of the graveyard and non-Native Americans in there too, yeah, it's a distinct possibility. Yeah, definitely. Because
I've heard some people say that they have had their encounters around cemeteries. So I'm thinking that could have been the case, is that there was Native American individuals in that cemetery, even though if they weren't marked, of course, the Dogman could sense
you don't know who's buried there actually, unless you do a full indexing of the people that are there.
Yeah.
I know Josh Turner reported that there's a cemetery that he will not go to, and in Texas, and I'm hoping that when I go down there to September that he'll at least drop me off at the gate, and take off if he wants to go away. And I'd like to check that out.
If he doesn't, give me a call.
Yeah, we'll go.
You guys are going to be there. We'll all go. That's all.
I'll go.
Yep.
I won't be able to, I won't have very much with me except my hands, I guess, because I'm taking a plane and I don't want to upset the TSA. I mean, can you imagine they're going through my luggage and find the electronic flashbangs and they touch the wrong button and the thing goes off? Yeah. I mean, my God, bear spray and all this other stuff.
We will, because we're driving, so we got you covered.
Oh, good. Right. At least I know somebody will be there. Bring a couple extra, This way
Right.
I can maybe, put it on my hip. Because,
Well, Texas
yeah,
gonna be there, so I'm sure he'll be
yeah,
all right with that.
but I definitely I want to go to that graveyard that Josh is talking about.
Okay.
Dogman sightings have been there. You guys bring your ghost busting equipment,
All right.
and we'll stay there through the night if you want. I don't care.
Absolutely.
That's the best time to do your research at is at night.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
yeah.
my God, things happen at night. People don't understand. A lot of animals are nocturnal. A lot of predators,
Mm-hmm.
are nocturnal. They come out at night. I mean, look at raccoons. You never see raccoons during the daytime, and unless they have distemper or something.
Right.
And they're foaming at the mouth, or they get caught in my garbage can like this one did, and the damn thing got in my garbage can and couldn't get out. I think it was a teenager, and I looked in from the window, and I see the raccoon. I wasn't going to tip the damn thing over. It was in the middle of the daytime, so what I did was I got a hook on a rope, and I was right near my car. I threw it. I caught the garbage can, got in my car, rolled down the window a little bit, and I started to tip the garbage can and let him out that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he actually did when I had it tipped? He was actually at the top, like, here's the garbage can, and he was like this, like he was saying, pick me up. I'm like, what are you, out of your mind? He's got claws over there. Oh.
Right.
Then I got to get rabies shots, or maybe he wants to come in the house. But he liked my garbage cans. And he got caught in it that one night. But I wasn't going to take chances.
Yeah.
I just pulled the rope, came out. That was the end of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy. We
But
have several questions for you.
I just want to make a quickie comment with you guys. It's an easy one. That's the reason why I do cryptozoology. It is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many different cryptids that people have seen out there or reported. You've also, when you want to go into like folklore and stuff like that, in fairy tales, there's got to be some amount of truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Why has it been reported over the years by so many people?
Right.
Why are Sasquatch and Dogman reported by thousands of people who don't want to be identified?
Right.
I get calls and emails and letters all the time. I do not want to be identified, but we did see a Dogman here. Saw a Sasquatch there. We saw this. There's a lot of reports. People don't want their 10 minutes of fame. They just want to report it, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
And in
But anyway.
a lot of these cases, I feel like, that people that come forward, they have everything to lose.
Yeah.
So
they do.
they're not out looking to gain or, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that.
Krista, how many, if 1,000 people report it, I'm betting in that same area, 5,000 people have seen it and don't want to report it.
Right.
I don't care. This is 2023. People still feel like, oh, they're going to mock on me. I'm going to get bullied. Get out of here. Get bullied. Come on. Be an adult,
Right.
Tell somebody about it. You might save somebody's life, for crying out loud.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But you want to get to the questions, you said. Okay.
Yeah. Roger Blair, he asks, I got a question. Is there a chance that Dogman and Bigfoot ever cross paths with each other?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And nowhere is it better shown than like in the area of LBL, Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yep.
You have your Dogman in certain areas in Tennessee, and then you have your Bigfoot in Kentucky area. And then there's like that middle zone area where they both cross and they go. Yes, but they don't play well together at all. They do not play well together. And neither species, at least in the research that I found, and in a couple of stories from hunters that I've been told, neither species likes regular domesticated dogs. Dogman's been seen in the company of wolves, in a company of coyotes, but they do not like domesticated dogs, Dogman. And that's from all the research, and I've spoken to a lot of hunters, and that's a good interview if you can get a hunter, in Kentucky or in Tennessee to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
What you've seen out there in the woods while you're out there.
Right. That's crazy. Here's another question. Cassie So Sassy asks, these woods, are they government land, private land? I think that's when you were talking about like the Pine Barrens and things like that.
All right. Well, the Pine Barrens is an open land. It's like a park. Sometimes we do go on the government land when it's not fenced in. But when we went up to Moscow, Maine, I'm going to tell you, there were signs all over the place. In fact, a couple of people that were there with me, they took the signs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were on the ground. So
Right.
they took the signs as a memento. And it says, do not, government land, do not enter. But, there's no fences there. And I didn't see the sign, so I entered. But a lot of times we are on government land and we got permission to go on. Private land, you better get permission to go on there. If it's a person that owns it, if it's like a park area, it's wide open. When we went to North Carolina and we saw that anomaly, that big black bear, that was a lake area where people can go anytime they want.
Wow, how scary is that?
Yeah. So it's like, depending on the area, and I think, Krista, you said it, check the area that you're going out, not just for the animals, but can you go there?
Yeah.
Can you not set foot on that land?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get in trouble with them. Sometimes we gotta send in, a couple bucks to the government and get a permit to just go on the land.
Right.
But if you do it the right way, oftentimes you can just do it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these lands. So last time we were at the LBL, I actually had a headache, so I didn't go. But several people, I don't know, there was probably 8 or 9 people. They walked to Hotel California, is what's called.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Did you go there?
I did not, but everybody else did. I'm going here in a few weeks, though. We're going to go back. But out of the blue, a government park ranger just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. Kind of makes you think, don't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and why are they gonna stop and start talking with you?
Right.
Normally they'll just look at you as you go by in a regular park. They'll just look at you and just keep on going. And if they're curious, they'll come back and drive by.
Yeah, and the thing is, they were on foot. Hotel California is not on a road.
No.
It's back in the woods. So
yeah. You just tell them, hey, I'm an amateur photographer. I love to take pictures of old buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a public place. You're allowed to go there.
Right. Yeah. Out bird watching. Crystal J asked, how would you explain that kind of damage to your insurance adjuster? I think that's when you were talking about the damage on the lady's house from gifting. Yeah, that's a good question. How would you,
Well, she would have to say that either eat it herself, or she would have to say that maybe she had a bear rip it apart.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, and Jeremiah can back me up on it, the 4x4s that made up the one area that New York State is 42-inch frost line, which means you have to dig 42 inches down and sink that pole down 42 inches and then get it all together, with the dirt. I couldn't go and pull it up myself. These things were pulled out like they were nothing, like absolutely nothing.
Right.
So you're either going to have to blame it on an animal, or eat the damage yourself. That's the only thing I could say.
Yeah.
If you had claw marks on a car, you could say it was a mountain lion. You could say it was a bear, because bears have been known to do that to people's cars. Yeah. But you're going to have to get truthfully creative. Let's put it that way.
Well, for me, I'd be like, I have no idea. What does it look like to you?
That's a good one. Put it back on him.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I just came out and there it was.
There it was.
I sure didn't do it. Look at my nails. I don't even have any,
Right.
I have no idea what happened. That's how I would be.
All right. Who we got next? It's somebody from North New Hampshire,
Next
huh?
One. Actually, Be Kind. She says, Nick, I lived in New Hampshire. I lived next to State Forest. I had a cougar walk into my yard. Fish and Game told me there was a repopulation effort in New York State, and that's where it came from. So Maine is logical.
This one puzzled me. Mm-hmm. Why would you repopulate cougar in that area? I don't know why they would do that. There's no reason that I could figure that out. When I first saw that question, I threw it into my computer here, and
Yeah.
They don't have anything that they need to destroy by, via cougar.
Yeah, that's what I was
Why
gonna
would you
say.
do that?
What would benefit the ecosystem by putting
Yeah.
that back in there? Nothing.
Yeah.
No, nothing at all, except more missing dogs and cats out there and
Mhm.
wild and livestock. And also New Hampshire is experiencing a housing growth. So they're going to be building more housing up there. So you're going to lose a lot more forest area.
Mhm.
So that does not make any sense to me, guys.
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Penny Van says to you, Nick, I might message you one day and tell you my close-up encounter with a black bear. Put a diaper on before you read it, though. LOL.
That must
I'm
have
going
been
to tell
very
you,
close.
black bear are hungry all the time.
Mhm.
And in New Jersey, we have them. I carry with me regular pepper spray besides bear spray.
Mhm.
And I've told this story before where I was with a buddy of mine. We're up in his tree stand about 22 feet in the air. He built a real nice platform. It was early in the morning, and it was a bow season for doe. And we weren't getting too much action at that time in the morning, but all of a sudden, my buddy goes and pulls out of a bag a couple of sausage McMuffins from McDonald's. And I'm looking at him going, what kind of hunter are you?
Right.
Are you out of your mind? They're going to smell this. He goes, oh, if the deer smell it, it'll bring them. I go, and sure enough, a black bear, a teenage one, comes out of the brush and makes a beeline right for the tree we're at. Bear can climb trees, guys.
Mhm.
What the hell are we going to do? I don't have a gun on me. He doesn't have a gun. We got a bow and arrow. I pulled out my pepper spray, which is a straight stream. This bear was at least, I'd say 10, 12 feet up the tree already climbing. I mean, we were 22 feet in the air. It's going to come up there.
Mhm.
I shot him in the snout. He hit the ground. And this is how strong these things are. He must have fallen 12 feet.
Wow.
He hit the ground with a thump, and he's rubbing his nose in the grass, and just I think he dragged his nose all the way out, and he's going towards the water. He just knew instinctively he needed to go to the water because that's the way he was headed.
Right.
I mean, the pepper spray worked on him, thank God.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my buddy saying, gee, I hope you enjoy your breakfast because I sure ain't hungry anymore. That was a close call.
Yeah. Wow. That's
I mean, what do? You got a bow and arrow. So what? You're not going to shoot the black bear. It's not bear hunting season.
yeah.
I don't even think there is bear hunting season in Jersey.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's like, my God, this thing's going to tear me apart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd like to hear that her bear encounter. It must be horrible.
Yeah. Next question. Be Kind asks, Nick, any reports on chronic wasting disease in Sasquatch from Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and other states where it's so rampant in the deer population?
Well, you know what? Because it's out in the forest all the time, you got to figure Sasquatch, Dogman, any cryptid that's in the forest is going to have ticks. Or maybe their smell keeps the ticks away. Who knows? I kind of doubt it because ticks are like cockroaches. They're sort of indestructible. You got to burn them.
Yeah.
There have been sightings of Sasquatch, not Dogman so much, but Sasquatch with a lighter coating of hair. I haven't seen it myself, but I've read about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, hurry, eat those so smart. I thought he was going to hurry. I thought Donnie was going to run out and grab some. It's making me hungry now when I'm on shows and I start to mention food. Oh my God. But in any case, there's been reports of Sasquatch with a lighter coat of hair, almost instead of that thick bristly hair, maybe 2 inches of hair on their body and a light color to it, like a light gray, almost lending to a white color. And people are going, oh no, it was cloaking. Oh no, because a couple of people have seen it in the same area. It's possible it might have a skin disease.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it's possible it could be an albino Sasquatch because you have albinos in all areas of life, including humans.
Yep.
So that's where that can come in.
Mm-hmm.
like I said, having a round table with a couple dozen people, you'd be up all day and all night talking about this stuff. Cryptozoology is just so interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely can go on and on about this too.
Well,
I mean,
I've heard some people say that that Sasquatch has an oily, I want to say oily skin.
Right.
Now, do you think that that could also be like say for ticks and things like that, a repellent?
It's possible that it's a natural repellent. Yes, it's absolutely possible.
yeah.
So that would be one reason. And yeah, actually more than one or two people I've spoken to have said that. Dozens of people have said that because the Sasquatch left an oily residue on a lot of people that I've spoken to over the years, on their windshield, on their car, fingerprints.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think one guy in particular I was talking to after a show, and he said he brought it to a detailing place. The car wash had a hard time getting this off. I mean, we're talking 3-4 hours using different things to get that off of his car.
Wow.
Could not get it off.
Wow.
But different set. Once again, you have different types of Sasquatch. You have the Genosquatch that rolls around in mud and then rolls around on rocks, to have that rocky-like appearance. Maybe it does that to keep insects and bugs away. Your normal everyday Squatch like Patty, that Patty looked a little shiny. I mean, I don't know what kind of conditioner she was using, but she looked a little shiny,
Yeah.
in all the films I've seen of her.
Right. I have a question about dogmen. So there, are the different types of dogmen. Have you noticed, are there like the different, like the hyena type versus like the wolf type looking? Are any of them, have you noticed, more aggressive than the others?
The hyena ones are more aggressive. I've only had 5 reports that I've taken down in all the time I've been doing this, and it's going on now a little bit over, it's going on a little bit over 10 years for cryptids. So the hyena types, yes, are more aggressive. I had an encounter with a type 3. Generally, well, I can't show it because the picture is bad, but mine was a canine variant 3. The canine variant type, I don't want to give misinformation here. The type 3 variant 1 and and canine variant 1, those both look like wolves or German Shepherd snouts. The kind I had an encounter with was a variant 3. It's very large, but it didn't seem to want to even pay attention to me. It knew it was the apex predator in the area, and it didn't care one bit. It just ignored me. Now, the other one, the canine variant 2 is the hyena one. The one I think that's most aggressive is the type 3 variant 2. And from the reports and the pictures that people have done of these things, they fall into that category very nicely. And they are more aggressive. You hear the growls, and then they're like communicating with other dogmen in the area, and they're trying to encircle people. So I would say they're probably more of the aggressive ones, but maybe once again, they're near a kill. They're near maybe juvenile dogmen. They're near maybe a water source, and they're trying to get you out of the way, because I personally believe that Sasquatch and Dogman understand that you start killing humans, and humans will never stop until they've eradicated you from the face of the earth.
Yep.
I think they're smart enough to understand this.
Yeah.
At least over the years, that's how it's been.
Yeah. Thank you again, Donnie. And he has a question for you. How afraid of fire do you think Sasquatch and Dogmen are?
I think like any flesh and blood creature, I think they would be extremely afraid of fire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you had a blowtorch out there and you're shooting fire at them, I think they would back up. God, a 15-foot Sasquatch though? Jeez.
Yeah.
We're talking some crazy animal there. The speed at which it could probably travel at you.
Hmm.
That's why I'd rather hit it with the electronic flashbangs to try to disorient it and hit it with the bear spray right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. That's the reason why, guys, I travel in a pack of 7.
Mhm.
You know, everybody knows their job. When that big black bear came out of the brush, growling aggressively at us, I already had the guys note that, all right, we're not going to fire at it first with 308 rounds. We're going to hit it with the bear spray first. And I had 2 guys on take a knee, shot the bear spray up, and it took it down right away, and it left the area.
Mhm.
You know, but in the case of a dogman, if I knew it was a dogman, you could hear that chesty growl that they do.
Yeah.
In that case, I'm gonna start with my electronic flashbangs, the disorient, and then I'm gonna hit the area with bear spray. We all carry masks, so we're gonna slap the masks on, and the bear spray is gonna go out there. And at least I'm using a couple of ways to try to stave off a full grown battle there.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I mean, maybe there's 2 dozen of them, maybe there's 3 dozen of them around, and we don't know.
Right. Right.
You don't want to pick a fight unless you're going to win it.
Right. Absolutely. We are past the hour and a half mark, and we usually go an hour and a half. Brandy, do you
Okay.
have any more questions for Nick?
No, I don't, because I'll just wait for next time.
Yep. Yep. We definitely thank you, Nick, and we appreciate you coming on here and talking with us. And you're welcome back anytime.
Oh yeah, if I don't come back on before I see you guys in September, definitely we're gonna trade some real good insider stories back then. You know, in person.
Heck yeah. Oh, heck
Some of the stuff, guys, I don't want to really put out on the air because I'd rather people sleep at night.
Mhm.
You know, but I'll tell people in person. That's pretty good.
That's
Yeah, that'd be
understandable.
awesome.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
me
We
too.
thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. And tomorrow night we have our friend Terry Mosby, and we're going to talk hellhounds. So that'll be a pretty interesting topic as well.
Yep.
So anyway, for Brandy and myself and Nick, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night now.